Sorry for the background noise here, but once again, this guy's video is very good in certain areas and it's applicable to men and women. If you are liked by everyone and you don't have critics or people that do not like your opinions, then you have a major problem. You cannot be changing certain things, changing the world, changing society if you are just doing what everyone else did. If you want to bring in something a lot better, a certain amount of people will not agree with you. And remember, here he speaks about men because that's what his channel goes about, but this is applicable to men and women.
Believe it or not, some men actually don't want to develop their masculinity. They could develop into strong, confident leaders, but they want to stay small. They don't want to be masculine. The most common reason for this is that they don't want to lose the social approval of other people. They care what others think and they want people to like them. But a man who cares too much about what other people think, a man who shrinks himself and censors himself to stay on other people's good side, is not going to be attractive to women because a desire for popularity is inherently a feminine trait. A woman's survival was intimately linked with her social skills because primarily her survival was based on her ability to bond with other women, to care for each other's children. By contrast, a man's value was judged on something completely different. How sociable you are is not nearly as important as how good a shelter can you build, how good are you at hunting animals, can you defend the women and children from the warriors of the neighboring tribe. Essentially, you're judged on your masculinity. This is why we sense that something is slightly off about a man who cares too much what other people think. People don't really respect a man like that because fundamentally, it's not masculine. They're too scared to take action. They're too scared to state their opinions boldly. They're too scared to state that the attainment of their desires is a worthwhile goal and then to unashamedly go after it. They are actively working to push down any overt demonstration of masculinity because they sense that if they're too masculine, they're going to lose the safety of the social approval of the group, and they're not wrong. Masculinity, by its very nature, is polarizing. It's to pick a direction and to start moving in that direction. Masculinity is a decision. It's action. It's a tangible choice to move this way or that way. When you're still at the stage of weighing up your choices, maybe this, maybe that, you're safe because no one's going to be bothered by your indecisiveness. But as soon as you actually make your choice, it's there for everyone to see and it's going to be polarizing. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. You could make the case that the most polarizing figure in the entire world right now is Donald Trump. Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm not saying you should feel one way or another about him, but I'm pointing out that if he was a feminine man who was scared to say what he thought, scared to take action, scared to do anything in case it upset people, then no one would really be that bothered by him. But he is masculine in that he has no fear about stating his opinions and taking action because he doesn't seem to care what people think about him. He has no problem being polarizing. Or for another example, consider Jesus. And regardless of whether you're a Christian or not, you have to acknowledge that the very act of going against the authorities that existed at that time and preaching this new message about love, that was a very masculine action to take. But such masculine action is always going to be polarizing. Some people will love it, but some people will hate it and they're going to crucify you. But that's the choice that you make. You can stay safe, stay close, stay feminine, or you can put yourself out there. But when you do that, it's going to be polarizing. Just speaking my opinions here on YouTube is going to be polarizing. Some people will love this content and they'll subscribe and they'll follow the channel, and some people will hate it and they'll send me messages telling me how awful I am. That is the nature of the beast. Masculinity is polarizing, and it's not a bug, it's a feature. So just in case you have fantasies about developing your masculinity while still maintaining the social approval of everybody, let me just crush that fantasy. That is never going to happen. You cannot be a hero without creating enemies. That is a fact of life and you have to accept that. Nothing is for free. Everything comes at a price. And if you want the benefits of masculinity, then you need to accept that the price that you're going to pay is losing the universal social approval of everyone. And remember, being masculine doesn't mean that everybody suddenly hates you. It's polarizing. Some people do hate you, but some people love you. And because of your masculinity, the kind of approval that you're now going to get is going to be a lot more intense. You wonder what Jordan Peterson experiences when he came into fame so rapidly, and then suddenly the world seems to be full of critics, people who are criticizing and shaming him. But does he focus on that, or is he more likely to focus on the thousands of letters that he gets from people who tell him that he changed their lives, or the people who stop him on the street to thank him for his work? Now, perhaps if he had stayed quiet and never become a public figure, then he never would have provoked such anger and hatred. But then he would have also missed out on all that love, and that would have been a tragedy. From where I'm sitting, it's obvious that the benefits of masculinity massively outweigh the costs. And you know what you gain when you embrace your masculinity? The attraction of women, because, surprise, surprise, feminine women are attracted to masculine men. But you see, if you're a feminine guy, you will have some attention and approval from women, but it's because you're seen as safe and non-threatening. But they're never going to see you as more than a friend, because on a sexual level, what women respond to is masculinity. Now, you might be worried, won't women dislike me if I'm polarizing? Isn't it better to show her that I'm popular and well-liked? Well, of course it's good to show social approval, but you need to understand that there is a massive difference between the tolerance that women will show a feminine man who never offends anybody and the genuine love, devotion, and respect that they show a truly masculine man. Quantity of social approval is not nearly as important as quality of social approval. Having the mindless approval of everybody doesn't mean as much as having the genuine love and respect of people whose opinions really matter. High quality, high self-esteem people. Only a low quality man would actually care about having the approval of the masses, of all the low quality people out there. A high quality man looks at that and says, why would I care what they think? In fact, women actually get excited by men who demonstrate the ability to shrug off the opinions of other people. And there is an important reason for this. If times are hard and resources are scarce, a woman wants to know that a man has the ability to put her needs and the needs of their children first, even if it means losing the social approval of the group. In the modern context, when a woman sees a man doing what he thinks is right, even if everyone else disagrees with him, they're trying to shame him and guilt him to try and get him back into the fold, holding their social approval hostage like a terrorist to try and control his behavior. When she sees him just back his own judgment and do what he thinks is necessary, do what he thinks is right, she responds to that from a very deep, instinctual level as, yes, this is a man that I can put my trust in. Her response is actually sexual because evolution has crafted her to respond to that kind of masculinity. You can't go around being horrible to people and then try and disguise it as, I'm just being masculine, I'm just being an alpha male. That's nonsense. Masculinity is powerful, yes, but that power is meant to create, protect, and provide. Energy that destroys or terrorizes is technically masculine in that it's an expression of power, but it's a toxic distortion that we should all condemn. So if you want to be attractive to women, and I mean genuinely attractive, women stop and take notice of you. They don't just tolerate your presence because you're so inoffensive. Then you need to risk losing social approval. You need to become masculine, and that means accepting the fact that you're going to be polarizing. The truth is that every man has to be a leader. They have to forge their own path because they're going to be the leader of their family. To lead is masculine, to follow is feminine. Women will not follow a follower, but they will date a leader.
I love the quote about the skunk. As you know, a skunk puts up a terrible smell. So I think the quote is, if criticism could do anything to you, then the skunk would be extinct. Just remember that. Don't try and make the whole world like you. For some people, you are not their kind of person, and that's very important, especially in a Christian point of view. The Bible talks about children of the devil and enemies of God. And if everyone's liking you and what you're saying, then you're obviously not standing up for the truth.